Sweet potatoes. This rich root vegetable is great for all sorts of things. So today on Cooking with Parker, I'm going to show you how to make a nice traditional sweet potato pie. Normally for fall time, but it's spring. We're going to make it anyways. Who cares? It's also for my brother-in-law Dustin's birthday. So here's to you, Dustin, and here's to a great sweet potato pie. I'm going to start with a 1 pound sweet potato and then poke it with a fork a few times, create some holes, and then pop it in the oven at 350 for about an hour or so until it gets nice and soft and those starts to break down a little bit. And I got a homemade pie crust, so skip some of the steps, but it's just flour, water, butter. Do that all in a food processor, let it firm up, and then we're going to roll this out. Use our rolling pin to put it in a nice kind of disposable pie pan, not being super fancy here. I was traveling and all that. So anyways, I found out that sweet potatoes are a really southern item. I didn't really think of it that way. I always grew up having sweet potato pie, sweet potato casserole, just roasted sweet potato for dinner. And it's one of my favorite things. But if you don't have sweet potatoes much, you got to get it. It's a great southern root vegetable. Crimp at the edges for my pie crust so it's nice and pretty. I'm not a professional baker. I am a professional chef. I work at a restaurant as a line cook and some chef responsibilities. I'm going to pop the pie crust in the freezer until it gets nice and firm. Remove our sweet potato from the oven. It's softened up. It's, knife goes nice easily through it. And we're going to blind bake our pie, so it's going to be ready once our filling gets done. So grabbing our sweet potato, kind of break it up a little bit, put on some gloves because I want it super hot so that, because I'm impatient and it's going to work out easily. So grabbing the rice out, and this happens, we're calling this a Parknado moment because it's a nickname one of my chefs gave me one time because I'm always making a mess in the kitchen. A little bit better about it now, but it still happens from time to time. I'm always good about cleaning up messes that I make. So, get the rice out of there. Can use it again for another time for more pies in the future. I'm gonna pop our pie crust in the oven again so it kind of gets some nice color on the bottom. Now I got my immersion blender. It's a great tool to have, just blending up our sweet potato so it's a nice, really super creamy and soft, break down any of those fibers that you might have in a sweet potato. And I got a ginger root, so just using a spoon to kind of scrape off some of the skin, and then using a microplane to grate it in there, so you're getting nice, rich, fresh ginger flavor all throughout our sweet potato pie. You could also use ground ginger if you wanted. And then I got nutmeg, so again, grating that fresh, it's gonna get really nice flavors. And then finally got a cinnamon stick, so grating there. So sweet potato, ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, it's gonna give really great flavors. And as I said, if you just wanna use jar stuff, it's fine. I use those all the time too. Got a stick of butter. I forgot to soften it, but our sweet potatoes is nice and warm, so it's gonna start melting the butter down. Just kind of work it in there, chop it up so it melts a little bit faster. It's always a good kind of trick. If you don't soften your butter in time, just chop it up. It'll soften a little bit faster. Using my immersion blender again to help blend that butter up, break it down, mix it nice and evenly throughout all our sweet potatoes. And then I'm weighing out some sugar. So I like when I'm baking to always weigh things out. It's a little more exact, and I think it's a little more efficient too. So 100 grams of sugar is 1 cup, and then we're doing about 115, 110 grams of brown sugar, and that's also gonna be or half a cup for each of these. So half a cup of white sugar, half a cup of brown sugar. And the sweet potato is nice and warm, so it's kind of starting to melt and break that sugar down as well. And I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a little Parknado moment again, spilling it over my hands, but it's all right. Maybe just a Parknado watch there. So go and taste your food as you're going, hits all the right spots. Then we're gonna add my eggs. I don't wanna poison myself with salmonella, although I do eat cookie batter. I think it's fine. I've never, gotten sick from raw eggs. But, drop a little piece of shell on there. Make sure you remove that. Happens to professionals too. And I'm gonna whisk this all together until it's all nice and combined. When I tasted it, I realized I need a little bit of salt. Just bring out those flavors. You always wanna salt your baked goods as well. And then it calls for whole milk. I don't have whole milk. I got 2% and heavy cream. So just add a little bit of heavy cream to your 2% till it gets kind of a fattier milk content. So it's a nice kind of loose custard at this point. The sweet potatoes and the butter still has a little bit of texture, but it's gonna bake off and turn into a really nice kind of silky smooth texture. So pop this in the oven at 400 to start with. Cook that for about 10-15 minutes, then drop it down to 350. Cook it for another 40 minutes till it's set. Just has a really slight jiggle in the middle. And I'm telling you, this pie is delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself a slice. I made a second one so I could give my brother-in-law, fresh, uncut pie, but as I'm making the video, gotta give it a little taste test. We're also gonna make it look nice and pretty, so just dust it with some powdered sugar, grate over some fresh nutmeg so you got kind of some speckles and the flavors even more pronounced. I'm gonna make some homemade whipped cream, so using the heavy cream, put a little powdered sugar in there, some vanilla extract. Just whip this with the hand blender until it thickens up. Takes a few minutes, but you can use Cool Whip as well if you want to do that, or the ready whip stuff. Then I'm going to make a quenelle, which is a fancy word for a little spoonful of generally butter, but also works for whipped cream. And now let's go ahead and try our sweet potato pie. It's silky smooth, nice and sweet from the sweet potatoes. Got those fresh spices, the ginger, the nutmeg, the cinnamon all in there. But the jars, can go use those as well. So go ahead and make this, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Again, happy birthday, Dustin. Thanks for requesting this pie. It is really delicious. Glad I can make it for you. And I'll see y'all next time. So good.